What is a product, service that you can't still believe exists in 2019? My dentist's building has an employee just for pressing the buttons in the elevator. MySpace technically still exists, but they lost all of their users' data a while back. Telemarketers, how? How? You have called this number 12 times in 3 weeks and it is my work phone. If I didn't believe the IRS was filing a claim against me the first time, why the hell would it work the next 10 times? The doctor still has to use older, digital technology to check my prostate. Edit 1, my physician is a female. Edit 2, for those of you who are confused, a prostate examination, also called a digital rectal exam, DRE, is when a physician inserts his or her finger into your rectum to directly feel the prostate gland. The Space Jam website is still up and running the way it was in 1996. The U.S. Postal Service will still keep forwarding a letter 3 times in the hope of reaching the correct person. All for the cost of 1 stamp. Vacuum shops. I had an issue with my sewing machine a few months ago, and the nearest authorized repairer was a vacuum shop that looked straight out of the 1980s. It was such a surreal experience being in there. www.nissan.com is still owned by some mom-and-pop computer repair guy from the 90s. I remember stumbling across this by accident when I was looking for my first car in 2000. He's been fighting Nissan Auto for decades and won't give up his domain. I work for a grocery store that for many years has had a phone line where people could call and it would tell them the current time and temperature. They still have this system, and if it isn't working we get phone calls from people angry that it isn't working. The NES support phone line. Nintendo still answers anyone who calls. The number is written on the back of the NES. Door-to-door salesmen, no one takes them seriously and almost no one ever actually buys their shit. I played Neopets religiously like a decade ago and the website is still up and running. It hasn't changed since. Same layout and everything. Fire. Been the same shit technology for like 3 million years. Infomercials. I can't believe you still can buy things from TV. Call now and you'll get 2 things that are Usleys, thanks now I have 2 parrot toys that reminds you chores. Child beauty pageants, they're just so creepy. Those stores that rent out furniture and appliances at exorbitant rates. The Schwann's man. Dudes drive around in trucks and peddle frozen goods door to door. Nothing against them or their product, the premise still just weirds me out. It's like a milkman. Convenience fees for paying online. They're such bullcrap. Edit, whoa, thanks for the silver. Fax machines and everything that goes along with them. AOL. Everyone used them for dial-up internet back in the early 2000s, but they still provide internet to tons of people. The Facebook guy who posts Michael Jackson updates every day. Amway, Mary Kay, and any of the legacy, multi-level marketing schemes. Guess that's why ones like Herbalife survive too, since the old ones have as well. A couple of years ago, I read an article about phone sex and was shocked that it's still around. Video stores. There's one near my house that still stocks VHS tapes. I have no idea how they keep the lights on, but I go there from time to time just for the nostalgia. I sometimes find it hard to believe that you can go into a beauty salon and say to someone, "Hi there. I think my asshole is a little too dark, how much would it cost to have you bleach it for me?" And they would respond with a number, and if you paid, they would actually bleach your asshole for you. Actual physical checks and companies that demand them as payment. It's a piece of paper. Wouldn't you rather I send you an ACH or wire payment? We're planning a wedding now and the amount of vendors who are like, "What, PayPal deposit? ACH? Venmo? No. Put a piece of paper in the snail mail to send to me so I can then take it to the bank and deposit it and hope it's good, then you're confirmed," is baffling. Edit, I am fully aware that wires and PayPal both charge a fee for payment. Vendors, especially wedding vendors, could say, "You could pay with a check or PayPal, wire if you cover the amount for fees." I would rather pay a little bit extra to not have to go to the bank and order checks than go to the post office to mail them. It's called a convenience fee for a reason, and I will happily pay for the convenience of not having to mail a paper check. Edit 2, check is the correct spelling in the US. No, it is not misspelled. No, I will not use check. My broker just asked me to fax them a paper. I can't email it or scan it, it has to be a friggin' fax. Thank God for UPS. Sorry for my bad English. But in the place where I live there are guys going around the houses and whistling. What they do is sharpen your knives with a stone they carry. Edit, I'm from Mexico. Gas station attendants that pump your gas for you. Can't believe it's illegal to pump your own gas in some states. It takes less skill than, I don't know, driving. Cable, such a fucking waste of money with all the streaming services these days. Cash-only restaurants. Get a fucking iPad and a Square account. I am sure they have reasons, but all I can think is that they are lying about how much money they take in. Also, every cash-only restaurant in my neighborhood has an ATM that costs $3 or $4 to use. Kinda feels like a slap in the face. One of the film festivals I was entering required that your submission be on Betamax tape. That was pretty interesting. There was one guy in town who could convert it for me. He lived and worked in this big old house, covered floor to ceiling with shelves of every kind of video, film, audio device you can imagine. Gas station pumpers in New Jersey. Flip phones. I don't know how they exist now, but I think they can be pretty useful at times. Edit, adding to my thinking, I think they save money too. Edit 2, and that's a lot of upvotes. Edit 3, I've also realized Blockbuster exists in some way. Gay conversion, therapy, not a product or service but listing Microsoft Office as a required skill on a job description. Recently, I was a bit surprised to see that Walmart still sells cassette tape recorders. TI-83 plus graphing calculators. CDs and DVDs. I'm not surprised they're still here, but I am surprised that there doesn't seem to be any worry about them being phased out yet. Swords and swordsmiths and armor. Not that I'm complaining at all. Deus Vault. Phone book. Once every 6 months, I seem to find one either sitting under or on top of my porch. I just recycle them. Family Video. I don't understand how a video rental chain can still exist in 2019, the last time I remember going there was to rent games for my GameCube. Travel agencies. I thought the internet would have taken care of that by now. Edit, I clearly didn't know how much travel agencies do and how helpful they can be. I might use one in the future. Telephone psychics. Car dealerships. I just want to be able to go online and see the exact price of a vehicle and buy it without having to deal with the middleman who is trying to upsell, scam me. Long distance calling. I recently joined my father's business and was going through company expenses. I saw they were overpaying for a slew of communications services. I called Verizon and asked about these charges, and one of them was for long distance calling. This isn't a thing anymore, but because we had never canceled it, we were still being charged. I wonder how much they collect in long distance charges from people who just never updated their accounts. Ads on television. It's 2019 and I can't believe we have to pay for cable and have ad breaks. I'm always pretty shocked to learn Netflix still delivers DVDs. Just had to physically mail an international grad school application. Didn't even have to do that back in undergrad. Not vaccinating your fucking children. Shoe shiners. Ever walk around an airport in major business areas like SF and whatnot? There are shoe shiners there in case you're flying in for a quick business meeting. My dad was in the military and by God, I learned to shine shoes, boots, like a champ, so it seems strange to me that there are people who pay others to do it. I saw a Family Video store on the way to work today. Yes, it was actually open. I don't understand how they make any money. Realtors. They get a 3 to 6% cut of the home sale, let's say $400,000 sale, so $12,000 to $24,000 to literally just provide access to the property market. It should be a concierge service at best. AOL. There are still dial-up subscribers in America. Pour one out for our 56K brethren. Photo development services in a big box store, like Walmart. Writing a check, filling out a billing notice, stuffing both into an envelope, and then mailing the payment for that bill. Department stores, Macy's, Dillard's, et al., in general. Home telephones, landlines. My parents still have a home telephone and they only get calls on it from telemarketers LMAO. Like, get rid of that shit. Homeopathic medicine. They add a drop of medicine to water. You often see a ratio or something like 30x. That is the amount of watered-down medicine it contains. Sometimes you'll even see 10,000x, which is more expensive than 100x. 10,000 to 1 water to medicine. They claim that a fractional amount of medicine does the same thing as a real proper dosage. It's all a scam. Most of the time there is no medicine in it at all, just things to make it smell and/or taste like medicine. This stuff should have been outlawed decades ago, however Congress and the head of the FDA at the time were financially tied to the scams and passed laws enabling these scamsters. Edit, added clarification. I bought a new printer the other day. Like, a nice printer. They sent me a DVD in the box with instructions on it. It didn't even include a paper or electronic instruction manual. Who in God's name thinks it's still a good idea to do this? Crazy that it's actually an inconvenience at this point for companies to provide this. Satellite radio. Pack it up, serious. I can stream anything I choose for a third of the price. Edit, apparently there are advantages to satellite radio,